Okay, so we've got our band. We've chosen size 18 to start with. And open wide for me. What we're going to do is basically we're going to use finger pressure to begin with. And we're going to try to just fit the band around the tooth. Now, if the band won't go down at all, then that usually means that the band is a little bit too small. But it can be tricky. Okay, open wide. We had separators in. The separators work. Hopefully you can see here that there's space on either side of the first molar. Okay, mesial and distal. So that means that if we had a band that was too big, well, hold that thought. Let's just go band by band. I'll talk you through it. So let me try that band. That band was a little bit too small. So let's try number 20. What I was trying to describe is sometimes you can have a band that's too big, and the thought might be that it's too small because it won't go down all the way. Well, that could be because it is hitting the teeth on either side of the tooth that you're trying to fit the band. So you have to be careful not to be trying to fit a band that is actually too big and thinking that it's too small. So now we've gone up 2 sizes, went from 18 to 20, and it still won't go on with finger pressure. It's getting closer. Let's try 22. Now, keep in mind, I've got an assistant here. Can show Tiana. But notice how she's using the cotton plier to hold the band. She's not touching the box of bands with her hands. And then when she passes the band to me, she's going to make sure that I don't touch the cotton plier, so that way when it goes back in, nothing has touched the mouth. Okay? Open for me. So now we're up a couple sizes. All right, now, if you take a look here, open wide for me. The band, open wide, open. The band has gone down on one side. It's a little high on the other. We've done that just with finger pressure alone. This is a bite stick. I'm going to take the bite stick. Sorry, this is a band pusher. I'm going to take the band pusher, and I'm going to try to get the distal side on. Now the question is this band the right size, or is it a little too big? We're pretty confident that 20 wouldn't go on. This is a 22. So the question is, should we be using a 22 or a 21? In order to figure that out, we're going to look and see, do we see space between the band and the tooth on either side? We do see some space between the band and the lingual surface of the tooth, but before I jump to a conclusion and say, that band is definitely too big, let's try to fit this band a little bit better and then see how it looks. So in order to do that, whenever you fit a band on the lower, whenever using a bite stick, you start by working on the buccal side, then go to the lingual. Open for me. So you put the bite stick on the band. In this case, because we're on the buccal, we can go right to the auxiliary where the molar tube is. And you're going to have the patient bite onto the bite stick to try to seat the band a little further down. Bite together for me. Bite hard as you can. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Hopefully the video is showing how the band is going a little further down, little by little, as the patient bites into the band, and it fits onto the tooth a little bit better as she bites a little bit harder. Open wide. Now we're going to go to, if we look at the band now, open for me, open really wide. If we look at the position of the band now, it fits a little lower on the lingual than it does on the buccal. It fits pretty well. It's in pretty good position on the mesial, but open for me, but we can see the band, the metal, is a little higher than the tooth on the distal. So let's try to get the distal down a little bit, and then let's see what position it's in. So bite together. Bite really hard as you can. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Now, as I'm asking her to bite together, I can see the band fitting better, going further down in between the contact on the distal. Open wide for me. So that's pretty close. That's pretty good position. Now, from here, we should be able to check and see if the band is too big, then I should be able to use finger pressure alone and get it to come loose. And it's not coming loose. So that means that this band fits pretty well. Not everyone's tooth is the same shape and size. The bands all come in the same shape and size, and they're designed to fit kind of what the average, quote unquote, average shape of an anatomy of a molar is. So, because we see a little bit of space between the molar band and the tooth on the lingual side for this patient, that might just mean that the top of that molar might come to a little bit more of a crest instead of going straight up and down. Okay. Now, a couple points here I want to make sure that everyone sees. I'm going to remove the band, open wide. In order to do that, this is our band remover. This plastic piece goes onto the tooth surface where the patient would normally bite. And when we close it, this metal piece lifts the band up from one side to the other. So we're going to use the purchase of the metal piece to grab the molar band auxiliary where the hook is. We're going to be careful not to crush the hook by pressing right on the hook. And I was also very careful when I fit the band to not push the bite stick or the band pusher right on top of the band and crush the band. If you're not careful with the way that you use the instruments, then you'll just crush the band and then it will never fit properly. So we're going to set this aside. That's a number 22 for the lower left, and we're in pretty good shape there. So now let's try. We already know the size. 22 on the lower left fits. Usually the lower left and the lower right are pretty close to the same size, so it makes the most sense to start with the same size that we got to fit on the lower left. Use that same size on the lower right. So we'll grab a 22 for the lower right. Open wide for me. Just drop that in my hand. Okay, so again, we're going to start with finger pressure first. See if we can get that band to fit down onto the tooth. And we've got success. We'll take our band pusher first, use gentle pressure. Basically the same thing happened when we fit the lower right as when I fit the lower left. The lingual went on pretty well and the mesial went on pretty well. It's a little higher up on the distal buccal. So I got it down a little further with the band pusher first. Now we're gonna use the bite stick, bite together, open wide. Same thing, the buccal and the mesial are in pretty good, but the distal is a little high. So we're gonna open wide. We're gonna position the bite stick on the distal and bite together, open wide. So sometimes you have to open a little bit, loosen one side in order to get the other side to go down properly. Open for me. Okay. Bite together. Open. Let's just loosen this up a little bit more. Open wide. Let's get our band pusher. Open for me. Push on the distal. Okay, now bite together. Open. So we're pretty much almost there. We're pretty much stuck at the same spot. It's the distal that is just a little high. So bite together. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Open. Just can't seem to get the distal all the way down. Bite. Bite hard. Hard as you can. Open wide. Bite together. Open. Okay, open wide. All right. well, let's put the lower left back in so we can compare. Open. I don't think that our band is too big or too small. I think we have the right size band. Sometimes it's just tough to get it to fit around the tooth properly. So let's just see how well we had the lower left and then compare it to the lower right. Bite together. Open wide. Bite. Open. Bite. Open. Bite. Open. Bite. Open. Bite. Bite hard. Open. Open really wide. So the lower left fits great. The lower right is just a little off, but we're having a hard time getting it exactly where we want it. Bite together. We're gonna see if we can get it closer to the way the lower left is. Bite hard, bite as hard as you can. Open wide. So this may just be about as good as we're gonna get it. The lower left is, I would give it an A- or an A. The lower right, I would say it's probably a B or a B+. But the fit is good. Again, we want the band to fit. The band does not stay on with chemical adhesion. In other words, we're going to use band cement. We're going to cement the band with our band cement, but it's not the cement that keeps the band on the tooth. It's mechanical adhesion. In other words, it's the fit of the band, open wide. So the band fits well enough that I can't take, with my fingers, I can't pull the band off. So that's a good start. We obviously want the band to fit as well as we possibly can. That's not always possible, but like I said, we're in pretty good shape here. I might even be being a little hard on myself by saying it's a B or a B+. It might be pretty good. Open for me. So the next step will be to cement the bands. We've already gone over band cementation. Well, I should say there's another video that you can watch on band cementation.